your shoulder shrugging or whatever it is. That's a swag that you hear that goes from here to here. If you just like this, and I know we all do it. We all do it. It's by the way, it's easier to play like this. It's a lot easier to play like this. But we all do it, and we practice like that, and that's fine. But if you really, really, really want to know rhythm, you have to.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Nuno. Do you sit down when you play solos if you're in the studio, and you stand up and play rhythm?
No, I stand up for all of it. I have to stand up for all of it, and one of the reasons is for that reason.
Yeah.
It's just like when I sit down and play it, and I've done it, and I'll do it. Sometimes just old and tired, and I'll sit down and play it. But I see I'm like, oh wow, I nailed it. I don't feel anything, but I nailed it. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. That's the problem. You have to. That's the Olympiad versus the messy guy, right?
Right.
You have to somewhere meet in the middle where you don't think about it and where you're okay. In the Rise solo, when you went for the first bend, nobody knows that they're gonna go, oh, that's a cool sound. The first bend of the fucking Rise solo, I missed 2 strings completely. I literally was supposed to go and it was supposed to be 1 note and 3 strings came out. It sounded like a car accident with a horn and something else. And I literally went, oh my God, that was fucking amazing. That turned me on. I could never replicate. I'm trying to do it now at the hotel. I'm trying to replicate that sound. I never will. Why? Because it was the danger of letting go and saying, let's see what the fuck happens. Instead of going calculating it and going like, I want this to happen. How do I make it happen? I go like this. I go it and I got it. Okay, great. I nailed it. We've all done that before, and we'll probably do it again. But I can guarantee you that the reaction of the Rise solo, I bet I don't have a lot of money, but I bet my children's lives, everybody on it, that it's the emotion of it that people aren't seeing but are feeling. They're not going to verbalize it. They're just going to go, oh wow, that section you play. Oh wow, it's that thing. What they're doing is they're feeling something. I can see it in their faces. I can see it in their faces. They're not just watching a guitar player going like, wow, that's a cool lick. Wow, look. They're more like they're vacant almost, because it's all senses are going into overload, and it's watching the video, it's watching the band go all in, it's watching me going in for blood, it's watching the mythology of rock and roll, right? The mythology is what's missing. That's what I think everybody's freaking out about. We grew up on the mythology of watching a Van Halen on stage, watching fucking Madison Square Garden, Jimmy Page with his Les Paul. That part of it is when have we seen that? And we didn't do it on purpose. We just shot a video, and we just shot another few videos. That's what we do live. So I think all of a sudden, maybe, hopefully, when people start seeing, wait a second, we can go all in emotionally again. We're allowed to feel something and not just play and not just make sure we're perfect, because everybody's talking about AI now. AI. Oh my God, the world's going to end. AI on music. This is whatever. I go, I'm sorry, but AI has been here in music for the last 3 decades. It has. It's been here, people. I don't give a fuck if it's 90% of it, 80% of it, or 50% of it. Turn on the radio. Turn on the top 10 hits right now. I don't give a. You can call it AI. You can call it fucking auto-tune. You can call it whatever the fuck you want.
I tell people there's no difference between something that's heavily auto-tuned and AI. They can't tell the difference. So it's not going to matter if it's AI.
It's not going to matter. Everybody's going, oh my God, it's going to be AI. I'm like, great. Let it be more AI, because then we'll stick out even more. The guys who are playing like shit and the guys who are missing strings.
All right, so I'm gonna try and pin you down here, Nuno. Give me some of the Olympiad guitar solos first of all from your favorite players. What's a Brian May guitar solo?
I'm always horrible at this, because I'm that guy that afterwards I get to my hotel and I'm like, fuck, why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I think of that? I mean, for Brian...
Talk about Brian May. I know you love Brian May. Talk about Brian's tone and his approach.
Yeah, look, Brian, was it Good Company, the track that he did that little Dixieland band, and he did all these arrangements, and he sang the song, and you have to hear it because his arranging and his tones and everything else. But for me, with him, he was the bender for me. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that would bend a note, and I'm still, the reason I keep bringing up the Rise solo is because the Rise solo is a great epitome of like 3 or 4 influences that I have in the soup or the ingredients. And whenever you go for these bends, not pretty bends, Brian didn't bend pretty. when Brian hit a note, it sounded like the house was gonna cave in. You don't know what the fuck was in the front end. You don't know what extra noise was shaking in the room. It was like, it's like this fucking. And of course, it was a coin, and it was the fucking Vox, and there was I don't know. It was just big. There was more bottom end in it sometimes than the fucking whole song. He'd come in like on Death on Two Legs. The beginning, the first 3 notes of Death on Two Legs off of Night at the Opera. I know everybody knows it for Bohemian Rhapsody, but go listen to Death on Two Legs and listen to when he first. I don't even think he's playing the solo yet. He's trying to start the solo, and there's so much like you're like, what the fuck is going on in that room? Is there an elephant in the room? It's his fucking monstrosity of like him just when he hit a note, it went through you. It just went through you, and it was so everything that I'm trying to tell everybody that it was emotional, and it was like you'd make your head turn away. It was a physical element to it that made you just like, it was too much to handle that, and then, I'm so sorry I can't think of specific solos, but it's just like, it was everything. I was never like that guy that, I can go by albums, but I was never a guy that went into one song and I was like, oh my God. I would dive into albums from top to bottom, and I'd live those albums. I'd have an affair with the album, for months and months and months.